Welcome to our episode of Happier at Lap of Love, where we get to dive into what it's like being a Lap of Love veterinarian and get to know the incredible doctors on our team. Joining me today, I have Dr. Nick Labriola from Las Vegas. Dr. Nick, I'm so excited to have you with us. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm excited as well.
Good. I know that you have had quite the journey within Lap of Love, but how long have you been with us now?
Yeah, so I've technically been with Lap of Love since August 2019.
Wow.
And I've been a vet with Lap of Love since like August 2020. So.
Okay. What was your role before migrating into the veterinarian role?
So I was a care coordinator part-time while I was in general practice for exotic pets. So yeah, that's how I found Lap of Love. And it was amazing. And I wanted to do Lap of Love full time. I wanted to focus on hospice after doing that. So.
Well, I'm sure that was an eye-opening experience, because when you say care coordinator, do you mind telling the folks who are joining us what that looked like a little bit?
Yeah, so it was a lot different back then, because we were much smaller back then. I know that wasn't even that long ago, but we were a lot smaller in 2019.
Right.
So it was very different. But it was a lot of, not just scheduling appointments and everything, but sometimes we would do full consults with people. People called in with medical questions. There was three of us. There was 3 DVMs in the support center at the time. And,
Gotcha.
They would let us know, hey, this client has medical questions. Can you guys help? And
Absolutely.
yeah, so it would be a lot of that. And it was amazing. It was very helpful to people. And, just guiding people on that big question of when is it time? How do I know when it's time?
Absolutely.
So,
well, I think our tele-advice sector kind of evolved probably from having veterinarians working within the support center.
Yeah, definitely.
Offering
it was
those
around
family
that
guidance.
time. Yeah, it was around that time when we started doing tele-advice. So yeah.
That's awesome. I love that. So you've been with Lap of Love, you said, starting as a veterinarian since 2020, right?
Yeah, August 2020. So
August 2020. Okay. And I guess when you were working in general practice and kind of found that veterinary care coordinator role, what prompted you to even explore an opportunity with us?
So I found out about you guys in vet school.
Okay.
I wish I could remember exactly what happened, but I don't.
Delightful.
I just heard the name Lap of Love and in-home euthanasia, and I was like, oh, that would be sweet. That would be nice. So I looked into it. And I was kind of looking into Lap of Love and that general practice job at the same time. And both seemed like great options. And I was in a situation where I kind of needed 2 jobs. So
sure. As many of us do post vet school.
Right.
Yes.
Exactly. So yeah, it happened. And
here we are.
Yeah.
That's great. So correct me if I'm wrong. You were in South Florida when you first started working with Lap of Love? And
yes, I was in Miami.
Okay, nice. And now you're out in Vegas.
Yes.
Okay. Were you, let's see, Vegas, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, it was established at the time that you moved out there. But was it still a pretty new market, or had it already been well established by that point?
Yeah, so it was kind of both. So it was well established for a while, for many years. And then all the Vegas veterinarians had left Lap of Love. So yeah, so there was a couple months where we didn't have anyone in Vegas, and Vegas wasn't a service area for us. So I kind of restarted it.
Nice.
Yeah, so I definitely had a lot of families right off the bat. I was the only doctor for a couple months, and I was getting fully booked every day.
Yeah.
So I mean, the market was already there. It was just for a couple months. It was kind of just on pause for a little bit. So.
Absolutely. Did you feel obviously you were very busy, right? Coming in and helping those families as the sole doctor. Did you feel like you were able to keep up with demand? Did your practice manager work with you at all to kind of I guess better balance your schedule?
Oh yeah, definitely. Being busy with Lap of Love is not the same as being busy in general practice. You could have the busiest, craziest Lap of Love day, and it's still not that bad.
I felt the same way in Houston. Yeah.
You know what I mean? When you were doing appointments, it's just, you're going to get home at a decent hour regardless. And your practice manager is going to be there for you to help you out regardless, whatever happens. And you're not going to spend that much time on medical records regardless of how many appointments.
Right.
And yeah, it's just, no matter how crazy it gets, it's never that crazy.
Yes. I loved being able to be done with my day and not having the stack of records waiting for me. That was something that sucked my soul a little bit in practice. Was, okay, I'm done with the actual part of work. Now I have to do what's arguably just as important. It's sit down and do records when I should be going home.
Exactly.
Right?
Like, you remember working a full day and then doing records for like hours after that? Like, what is that?
Yes, I know. So to like give our viewers a little bit more insight, our medical software that we use in Lap of Love, it's a proprietary software called Sunshine. And it's really accessible anywhere we have Wi-Fi or phone service. And I know, Dr. Nick, do you use your smartphone for your records?
Yeah. So I do my records from my phone between appointments usually. So.
And how long does it take you, would you say, per appointment?
At this point, like a minute.
Right.
Like I've gotten to the point where I can go through it very fast, unless it was like, if there was outstanding circumstances,
Absolutely.
whether it was, some nondescript medical issue or something. But yeah, for an easy, straightforward appointment, literally just like a minute or two.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I love that. And something I love too, it keeps a running drug log for you when you input.
Yes, it's so easy to log.
Right? And it makes it easier to do your inventory once a week. Like, I'm only a few like 0.2 mils off. This is probably due to hub loss. Like, let me evaluate how many appointments I had. Those adjustments are easier. But okay, getting off topic about logistics here. But since you've been with Lap of Love in a few different roles, so I'm curious, like, what has been your favorite part of working with Lap of Love?
Oh man, there's a lot. I would say, I guess the two main things would be just how genuinely like fulfilling the work is. I'm sure a lot of people can relate. Being in general practice, I didn't always feel like I was actually helping.
There are moments that you're frustrated with, right? Yeah, like you can't jump through all those hoops in order to get there.
Exactly. And, there's sometimes you can only do so much. And I'm just like, am I actually helping this animal? Am I actually, and with Lap of Love, I know I am. Like, I'm very obviously immediately helping not just the animal, but the family too. And it's just so clear how much of a relief this is for everybody. And that's so fulfilling. Like, that makes you feel like a good person. You know what I mean? And it's just nice. And it's work that I'm like proud to do.
Yeah.
Which a lot of us can't find in veterinary medicine. It's hard to find that in this profession.
It's hard.
Yeah.
Finding a good work home is like the golden ticket. It's like, oh my gosh, like you feel you're right where you need to be. Yeah.
Exactly. And then on that same note, like the work-life balance, I mean, you can't beat the work-life balance that Lap of Love offers you. I mean, I live a very regular, stable life outside of work, and like I have a life. I'm a very different person outside of work. I'm not a vet when I'm not working, which has made me a better vet.
Yes, because you're able to fulfill the personal side of you, right?
Yeah.
That is the full bucket of Dr. Nick, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then I can focus on being a vet when I am at work, and I can be fully engaged in work instead of being like distracted and everything. So
absolutely. Yeah. That's some of my favorite points too. Like the work itself, it feels weird, I think, like gravitating into this role or migrating into this role, because I don't know about for you. When I went through vet school, I felt like it was kind of maybe subliminally communicated that unless you were in a practice setting, you weren't really using your veterinary degree. And I was just, I don't know if it's just because of, the options that we have in the clinic in a school setting, which are incredible, right? Like there's always like the pursuit of additional knowledge, which is very much needed. But sometimes I was like, I felt this pressure to enter practice straight away. And while that was amazing experience, it just didn't feel like that good fit for a forever home type scenario for my veterinary career. So it's refreshing to see kind of these avenues opening up within our industry. But the work itself, I felt the same. I was like, I am absolutely fulfilling my veterinarian oath in this work. And like, I can
Yes.
attest that every day.
That's such a good way to put it, because it's true. Yeah, and I think I can completely relate to what you just said. I think I felt the same kind of experience. And, like you said, it is really important to like be pursuing all that knowledge and everything and using all those resources available to us. But that mindset can get to a point of toxicity as well, where we're like discounting all of their avenues in vet med. And the reality of the situation is practice is not for everyone. It's not.
Right.
And, there's so many people that have DVMs that could benefit the profession and the world by doing something else.
Yes.
And, we're not encouraged to explore those options most of the time. So.
Right. I'm hoping that like that's becoming more prevalent within our field. I think the pandemic has really, like the good things that have stemmed from that, I think that has really kind of opened up a lot of veterinarians' eyes to what else exists out there. Yeah,
that's true. Yeah.
Which is cool to see. When everyone was forced to be at home, nothing to do but be on their laptops, right?
Yeah, then people are getting into like telemedicine and everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is so cool to see. And it gives care, it's more accessible care for families and pets, right? Mm-hmm. Which at the end of the day, that is extremely important.
Definitely.
Okay, so in the time you've been with Lap of Love, if you can think of this, what has been your favorite appointment that you helped at?
Favorite appointment.
Or most memorable, either way, which one has been?
Yeah, so it's the most memorable one was memorable because it was absolutely heartbreaking, because it was very, very sad. So I mean, I'll spare the details on that for right now, but I think my favorite appointment, there's definitely been a few that were just really cool. Because either the people were really cool, the animal was really cool, both. But I will say recently I had this like development. So a good friend of mine here in Vegas, I actually met him through Lap of Love.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and he's only 19. So like he's very young. He's a kid, basically. And it was like his whole family, and I was helping their Rottweiler, and it was like outside in like terrible condition. And they were all like very thankful that I was helping and everything. And basically he already at his young age of 19 has like a ton of tattoos and piercings. So he saw my tattoos and piercings.
Immediate connection.
Yeah, and he was like, "Whoa, I wasn't expecting that from the vet." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm the one that has
I'm also a human being, right?"
Yeah. So then we ended up like seeing each other like 2 or 3 times just out in the world, like in tattoo and piercing like circles. And we ended up becoming like really good friends. And I think it's crazy that stemmed from a Lap of Love, from like a work appointment. And that I saw this person out in like the real world like several times after that appointment. And it's just cool. And I think that I can say that's probably my favorite appointment, just because it stemmed like that stemmed from that appointment. Like making a new friend came out of work. Like
right. And it seems such a bizarre circumstance, but I think there's so much to be said of that short amount of time we spend with people. There's a lot of trust that is built, and obviously you're seeing this family at one of the most difficult times in their life, and like to those individuals, like you're that saving grace that their pet needs, right? And so like I don't think it's that surprising to have like something like that fostered from that interaction. This actually reminds me, we had a practice manager the other day who wore a Lap of Love sweatshirt out in public in kind of just an area in Florida. And she said just in that day alone, she had 3 different people come up to her, like at Target, at the gas station, like just random errands, and just like come up to her and thank her for what she did.
That's amazing. 3 people in one day. Like that's amazing.
Right. And it's just recognition of that name because of like who we are and what we do. I don't know. It's just cool to think about that.
It is. It's so cool. And I think it's really cool that, people see Lap of Love and think of Lap of Love and feel positively about it. Right. Instead of like, that clinic that they're like, oh, they charged me all this money and they didn't even do anything. And how people get.
Yes. Yes. I know.
People like Lap of Love. Like,
and it's, I think it's something too. That was something that was very refreshing for me. I can't speak for you, but like when I came from an ER setting, which like I loved the medicine, I loved that brain challenge of whatever patient may come in, but it was so nice to not have to have financial discussions anymore.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
like it being removed.
Yeah, and we don't like charging people. Like, people don't realize that. The public doesn't realize we don't want to charge you that money. We have to. And
No.
we, as the vet, we have no say in that. That's not us. That's like a totally different like branch of people that deal with all that. Like,
yes, not our wheelhouse, unless we're the owner, which very few of us are now.
Yeah, which is usually not the case. Like,
right.
Yeah.
So, okay. I mean, you can probably speak to this. I feel like you've been speaking to this a little bit throughout the conversation, but how would you say your life has changed since working with Lap of Love?
Oh yeah, I mean, like I was saying earlier, the quality of life. Just really reclaiming like my peace of mind and just myself, and being able to exist as myself outside of work, and not having to be a vet all the time, and not being exhausted because I'm a vet all the time. And just so much less burnout, less exhaustion, less frustration, less anxiety. Just feeling like a real person, like a regular person, which a lot of vets don't. Yeah, and a lot of vets don't feel that way. You know what I mean? I really wish we could all find that in veterinary medicine. I feel like almost privileged to like be in a place in vet med where I have that.
That's incredible.
Yeah,
I love that phrase that you said, reclaiming myself.
Yeah, like I feel like myself.
Yes, and I remember thinking that when I got started with Lap of Love back in Houston, and I just remember thinking, I have time to be me again.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I haven't been able to read for enjoyment, cook for enjoyment, like do those things that I love as a person since like before vet school. Yeah. And here I am again having time to be me, which is
and you can reconnect with all your passions and all those parts of yourself that were pushed away because of vet school. And
right.
Yeah.
Right. And that's such a great I don't know. I love that for you, and I love that for our doctors. That it makes me so happy to know that we're able to find that.
Yep.
And it's accessible. It's out there. Like we are worked way too hard as veterinarians. We invest so much into this career path. I feel like we all deserve to find that home that can provide us that balance and restoration of self.
Exactly. Like we all deserve that. And it's just, I guess it's kind of up to us to just be open to exploring like all the options.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, I'm sure you could probably say the same. I did not consider hospice something that I would have wanted to do after vet school. I don't think I even really knew, like I knew in-home euthanasia was a thing, but I don't think I even understood the scope of veterinary hospice during vet school. And, it wasn't even in my mind as something you could even do, but, because I was open to taking that step. And I mean, it was one of the best decisions I ever made. So.
I love it. I love it. Well, no, I mean, Dr. Nick, it's been such a joy chatting with you. Is there anything else that you would like to share with us today?
No, I think that's everything. I think we covered a lot of good things.
I was going to say, like, this has been a great, just like getting to know you, and even like your experience with Lap of Love. I'm happy to get to know a little bit more about that. It's been neat.
Yeah, I don't think I even realized you didn't know that, but.
No, and it's just, I think too, like so rarely do we prioritize time to connect with our colleagues because we're usually so focused on caring for patients and their people, and it's like, we should do this more often, right?
Definitely, yeah.
we can learn so much from each other and build each other up. But anyway, thank you so much for feeling willing to join me today, and I appreciate you. Like, thanks for all you do out there for pets and their people.
Absolutely, thank you for having me on this. This was great. I really appreciate you reaching out to me for this, and I guess I'll be seeing you soon at Western.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, we'll have a great group gathering, and you can come by the booth and hang out. Yeah, awesome. We're excited to see you. Thanks, Dr. Nick.
No problem.